Hello and welcome to Sonyabeonit's channel. Today we're going to do a follow-up of the flowers we planted 2 weeks ago. Can you believe it? It's only been 2 weeks. You're going to be amazed, as I have, with the progress of these flowers within only 2 weeks. For those of you who saw the first half of this video, I talked about the things that I actually use to plant these flowers. There's two main ingredients main things that is needed to have healthy growing flowers throughout the whole summer, and that is a good moisturizing, a good moisture type soil, and plant food. If you can't afford to buy like the Miracle-Gro, go to your sporting goods store or somewhere like Walmart, Lowe's, and pick up a carton of worms, which is usually people usually use the worms for like fishing, but that is a good source of food for your plant. Just plant the flowers and add a couple of worms, and you will be surprised of the growth. And it's going to be very healthy for the flowers. So let's take a look at each flower that I actually plant. And remember, I also had some extra flowers that I didn't know what I was going to do with them. So I put it in this pot, and as you can see, it just went bananas. It just went crazy. So we're going to go through these flowers. We're going to also look at my hanging basket, because this year was my first time ever using the Lowe's trash bags as a liner for my hanging basket. So we're going to take the time out right now and just take a look at the flowers. Okay, this is the very first pot we're going to take a look at. This came from the extra flowers that I purchased, and I didn't have a pot to put it in. I found a pot, came across a pot, and I went out and bought some other little extra flowers to put in. But can you see this? This is only within 2 weeks of planting these flowers, and they were actually smaller than this, which I have my petunias, and some people call that the creeping pansy because they tend to spread a lot. You also have the bitings. They almost look like a little daisy of some sort, and you see the array of color. So it looked like, although I have just planted this within 2 weeks and they have just taken off like this, the only thing I used was the Scott's moisture soil, and I also used some Miracle-Gro. So I'm going to have to take this out of this pot to replant this. So this is the first thing I wanted to show you, because these are the leftover flowers I had in the tray. Take a look at this flower. Do you remember in my first tutorial or review of my flowers, my summertime flowers, I planted this, and the only thing I really had was the smallness of this flower and the roots. Do you see how this has taken off in 2 weeks? I still have not asked my neighbor what it's called, because he gave me a pinch of this from his garden last year. So isn't that, oh, it's so beautiful. It is so beautiful. And I still got my little decorative rocks at the bottom. I hope you can see that. I have my decorative rocks at the bottom. Okay, let's go to the next flower. Here's another pot that I did. It was a smaller pot, and I used a piece, I used some decorative rocks to go in this one also. This is the one that had the marigolds on the side. I used the yellow ones and the gold. The reason it's really not blossoming the way it should, because it's not getting enough sunlight. So from time to time I would just change it around, but they're still going to bloom. And this side is going to be the gold color. Let me pinch that off. There we go. But isn't that beautiful? That is beautiful. And here's my purple queen. It's still growing too. So even with the smaller pot, it's doing pretty good. So like I said, don't be alarmed. The marigolds, they're actually going to come, because you still see the bulbs on it. So they're going to grow. This is the very first pot that I did on my tutorial, and it's coming along pretty good. It's actually what it has done a couple of times, and what it's doing is, once you plant a flower sometimes of this size, it will actually seem as though it's going to die out and regrow. So you're going to have some limbs. Like you can see, this is trying to restart or rekindle in a sense of blooming. So anytime you have dead leaves, it's going to just pinch them off, throw them away. But this is going to get really, really huge. So I have to keep an eye on that and keep a lot of water. Now the only thing I didn't do with this pot, I had already had some potting soil inside of here. So what I did, just took it out of the original pot and just plant it. And in some cases you will find, if you have original soil, it's best to discard that potting soil and put fresh potting soil in the pot. But I didn't do it with this particular flower, so it's taking a little bit longer to grow, but it should be okay for the entire summer. It's going to get bigger. We just gotta be patient. Okay, here's the hanging basket that I actually did for the summer also. As you can see, it's beginning to fall over the basket. Remember, I did an experiment and I used a Lowe's outside trash bag as my liner this year instead of using a coconut liner. It's actually doing pretty good. The only thing is, once you water this, it's gonna give indication that it has been watered, or it may look as though it's have some type of mildew or whatever, but it's really a good indicator that the flower has enough water, because when this bag turns brown, I know it's time to water again. But what I tend to do when I water my flowers, and I would suggest this to you also, is either water your flowers early before the sun come up, so that's around what, 6-7 o'clock in the morning, or you're gonna water your flowers late in the afternoon. I just find out it does better if you water them early in the morning time. It has enough moisture to accommodate the heat that's coming, or to accommodate the heat that's going to be out for the entire day. So that's how I'm able to keep these flowers looking so pretty. And as you can see, it's falling over. It's beginning to come over. So by midsummer, I should have flowers just falling down. Okay, this is the last flower. This is the kangaroo paw. This is the tropical flower that I purchased also. The thing with it, it's not getting enough sunlight on the porch. I have a little decorative table sitting outside. I don't have my patio furniture out as of yet because I'm going to redo some things on the porch itself. But I wanted to show you how this came out. So far it's not doing so good. So what I've been doing is plucking the dead leaves off to make sure it's still trying to grow, but it just needs a little bit more sunlight. And I haven't had the time to really nurture this one as I have with the other ones. The other ones is almost like a low maintenance type flower. You water and it pretty much takes care of itself. But something like this, it needs a lot of TLC. So it's not working out too good. As you can see, I have some decorative pieces I put outside. This is the last of the flower, but this right here, we're going to talk about some yard sale finds. I've been doing yard sales in my neighborhood. A lot of subdivisions are having community yard sales. I found this piece for $1. Isn't that neat? That is really neat for $1. I even got some Tyler Perry stuff we're going to talk about. So that is next to come. And we're also going to prepare to renew our grills, where we won't have to go out and purchase new grills. We're getting ready to go out with a bang for the summer. Everything we're going to do is going to be low maintenance, or it's going to be on a very, very cheap budget, because that's what it's all about, saving money and still looking very sophisticated and expensive. So that's going to conclude today's review on the flowers that I planted 2 weeks ago. And stay tuned because there is more to come. Be blessed.